Texas. And then Ariel Lucky said, yeah, and a gold one too, you know. Yeah, well, okay, if I want a car like that and that's where I put my focus and everything and all my energy, then I can't on the other side fight mining, right? So, you know, I've got to keep myself in line too, and I got to be in prayer all the time. So the reason, and the only reason, that our enemy is doing this to us, they want the land, and they want the resources. They want the oil. They want the gold. They want the uranium. They want the molybdenum. They want silver. They want, what do they want? They want timber. They want oil. They want everything. Everything, you name, what is it?
Coal.
Coal, yeah. The uranium. Water. The fish. They want all of it.
Lithium in Afghanistan now. Lithium.
Lithium. Hey. Yeah. What are they going to do with it? They're going to line their pockets as if they're going to live forever? Give me a break. So it's destroyers versus the caretakers. When I see somebody in my family, and that's the only one that I have control over, because I'm a great grandma now. If I see somebody blaming another one, or somebody putting the blame where it shouldn't be, I'll stop it. Hey, be careful who you blame. Put the blame where it belongs. Put the blame on the colonizers who colonized your thinking, who made you greedy and made you jealous and made you lie and made you steal. Put the blame there. And don't leave it. Don't let it keep on doing that. Undo it. Counter it. Like the war dance. The war dance goes counterclockwise. You're countering the negative, right? To turn it around to read positive. The ghost dance. Excuse me. The round dance goes clockwise to enhance the power of goodness, the positive. Am I right, my elders? So we got to think, what would our ancestors do? Where is the order? We got to think. And the order is right here. I can touch it in the spirit world. Divine order is right there. Equality is right there. With my mind and my heart, I can touch it. I can feel it. I can keep it. The challenge as a human being I have is to maintain it and keep holding on to it every day and be in prayer more. So the land, the resources, the civil rights, the constitutional rights, the indigenous rights, the human rights, the treaty rights. As human beings, we have all these rights. And they weren't given to us by any government, any colonial government. They were given to us by whom? By Hahatum. How do you say creator in your language? Tumanwitla. Yakima? Louder. Let's say it louder.
Creador.
All right.
Tumanwitla.
All right. Anyone else? Tunkashila. Wakantanka. Hahatum. Kulanchutin. Sanspakpak. Yasukri. Yasukri in my language is Jesus Christ. We honor the Creator that way by calling Jesus Christ Yasukri. The morning star is Yasukri. We got to learn these things and talk. Say them out loud. That's where the power is. And we'll do that Thursday morning at sunrise. Ha, come. Ain't it? Ha, come. We'll bring our tobacco. I have tobacco with me, taking it to the sunrise ceremony to offer it. Each year gets better. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for coming down to this conference. Thank all of you for coming here. This is a little easier this year. And I know some of you, you're busted. You were praying. You were praying. Next year, I have a feeling it's going to be better. I can't say I'll be here. If the goddess and the God is willing, in the sunshine and the rain and the elements, I'll be here. If I can't make it, I'll be here in spirit. So I'll be around, and like Tony said, feel free to approach me. I already got invited to lunch, or dinner, I mean. I want to have some meetings to plan on how we can combine our work. When I go home, I'm going to meet with some people to strategize on how to sensitize my community in the Spokane area about Leonard Peltier. I want to help in the area of battered women. I want to help in the area of custody cases. I've been involved in these little by little, but I just want to enlarge it and build a network of concern. And the bigger, the better. And if you will do that in your communities, that would be good. And then we'll keep in touch through Facebook, email. We'll combine our networks. Take charge. If the United States does not want to honor the treaties or agreements, or what is that other one, the constructive arrangements that they made between them and indigenous nations, then we must honor each other. We must honor the future generations by working together. We will take charge, and in the end, we will be proud and stand up before the Creator and our ancestors, and we'll all celebrate together. So that's why I came, and I'm glad to meet all of you. I'm looking forward to the next few days. Limnem. Thank you.
Do you want to say something? Thank you, Yvonne. And I'd like to invite Jean Whitehorse to come and share some words and experiences, what's going on down in Southwest in her area.
Thank you. Ache la ko de ya benet ano sokot ko den jungo akhani si khato penige kholo ko penya ko ta na si tha. Good morning, everybody, my brothers and my sisters and my relation. My name is Jean Whitehorse, and I'm from the Navajo Nation. Some other people call us the Ney, and it's the same. So what I wanted to share with you is some of the issues that we are encountering back home in the Southwest. If you don't know, the Navajo Nation extends into the Arizona, New Mexico, and a little bit of Utah. So we have, a large nation, reservation. We have 5 agencies. I'm from the Eastern Agency in New Mexico. Some of the issues that we're encountering is just like Yvonne said, the resources that are coming from our land. When our people went on the Navajo Long Walk, they were removed from the land for 4 years. And when they came back, they only had 10% of the land. And they gave us the land that they said that nothing will grow on, give it back to them, it's worthless. But later they found out there's uranium, there's coal, there's gas, there's oil. Now they want all that resources out. Up to this day, we're battling that. We're still trying to not get it through, but of course, you know the government. Anytime any hearing goes before the Supreme Court, they don't think about the Indian nation, the indigenous people, the minority. They're thinking about who votes for them to get the position that they're in. That's what counts to them. So they look at that factor. If they vote our way, and if their people doesn't like how they voted, they're not going to be in that position when their term comes up. That's how they look at it. Right now, I'm a grandma myself. And when I first came here to the Bay Area is February 1969. I was only 19. I've been through the boarding school. That's where my education started. I met the Board of Education at the boarding school, the ruler. Every time you made a mistake, you know what the ruler was for. It wasn't to measure how much you grew. It was to punish you. So throughout my whole boarding school system was all about abuse, physical abuse. But now it's different. When the parents get after their children, the parents turn around and saying, you know, they report him. But back then, our mothers, our fathers weren't there to talk for us. They weren't there to protect us. So I grew up in the boarding school system. Next after that was the BIA relocation. That's how I ended up here in Oakland, February 1969. When the island was taken over in November, I went on the island 2 weeks later in December. When I was here, I lived in Oakland. There was a lot going on. There was the Black Panther movement. I went to Berkeley where I watched the students protest against the Vietnam War. I used to come to San Francisco to watch the hippie movement. I went on the Rock to watch our own movement, what we stood for, what we were protesting for. I had to learn to survive. Day 2, when I came, I wanted to go home. I said, I want to go home. I don't belong here. I don't know where I'm at. But I was told you came here to learn a vocational skill. It's just 3 months. When 3 months was over, I said, I want to go home. Then they said, no, we'll get you a job. The longer I stayed here, the longer they kept me here, I learned about myself, who I was, what it means to be an American Indian. Right now, we're all labeled as Indian, but we are a different tribe. We have our language, we have our tradition, we have our ceremonies, our prayers. That's what we're still holding on to. I'm very happy to see the young people here. Thank you for being here because you're the future leaders. When you become leaders, we're going to depend on you. Which way are you going to take us? Keep your language. Learn your prayers. That's where you're going to be strong. That's how I talk to my young people at home. Learn your language. Keep it. A lot of people say we're losing our language. We're not. As long as people like me are still speaking it, our language is still here. We're losing our young people. It's very important to keep your identity. My Navajo elders are saying once we lose our language, if our children do not continue talking the language, we're not going to be identified as Native American or Navajos or whatever tribe you belong to. That's when you're going to go into that melting pot, the one that they're trying to get everybody into. So young people, understand that you are important. 10 years from now, what decision are you going to be making? Are you going to still have your land? Are we going to still have our land? Even though we say it's our reservation, it's our land, is still held in trust by the government. That's where you need to learn all that. I took law 1 year because I wanted to be a tribal law advocate. That 1 year that I studied, I made sure I understood the federal Indian law. But I found out that that's not written to help us. It's written for the Congress to use it as they please. They call it relocation. That started a long time ago. And I ended up in that cycle. Up to this day on the Navajo reservation, they're still relocating our elders because of the coal mine. Then there's the termination, the reorganization. All this thing that the federal policy has written My grandmother survived it. I went through the boarding school, the relocation. How many of you know what happened back in 1970? I have one daughter. There was another bill that the Congress passed, which they made sure came with a lot of money, a lot of funding. Native American sterilization. Another genocide, another way to attack us. Some of us were told you're unfit to bring your own kind into this world. You're uneducated, you're on welfare. Your children are going to be on welfare too. I only have one daughter when they did that to me. Sometime I wish I had 4 or 5 children. I'm very happy that, a lot of families have little kids, little children. Bring them up right. Teach them. Hold on to them. Make sure they keep their language. That's what I talk about back home. Another thing, too, is of all the stuff that we have been through, then comes self-determination. But we have to work at it. Just like Yvonne said, we need to come back together, reunite, be strong, become a nation again. But it's up to the young people. That decision lies in your hand. We can only guide you. We can only give you advice. But the decision is in your hand. With all this resource that they know is in your land. That's what they're after. That was one reason behind this relocation, was to take all the young people off the reservation so they can take the land. But a lot of us went home when we knew it was time to go home. I stayed here in the Bay Area for about 4 years. Every time I said I want to go home, they just kept me here longer. The longer I stayed, like I said, the more I learned about myself. My education is very important to me. When I talk about where I've been, where I'm going, I always say I was here at the right time, at the right place, at the BIA's expense. They sent me here, paid my way around, gave me money to stay. The more I stayed, the more involved I got with the movement on the island. I was interviewed one time on television, and I received a tape, videotape. There was one question I was asked, but that wasn't in the tape. They asked me, "What do you think of 9/11? I said, "I'll tell you what I think. It's about time you find out how it feels to be massacred. That's how our tribes, they were massacred. They were attacked. They were wiped out. We survived, you'll be fine." That's what I told them. But it wasn't in that tape because they didn't want to put it in there. A lot of time when something happens, you don't know what comes to my mind. You don't know how I think. When they were talking about that cruise that was, when everything went out, remember they got towed in? People were complaining because there's no running water, no electric, they were eating cold food, and I said, "Hey, that's how your ancestors came over on the Mayflower. Now you know." See, this is how I think. I don't know, sometimes I always think, am I the only one that feels like that? Because of everything that I've been through. But a lot of time I speak how I think and it gets me in trouble. But that's okay. That's why I'm here. And sometimes my daughters and granddaughters, they just look at me. My daughter will step away, but my granddaughter will stand by me. When I first went back to Alcatraz, I paid $35. And then the tour guide gave, the information. They didn't say much about the takeover of the American Indian, just a little, maybe a sentence or two. And after that, they said, anybody have any question? I raised up my hand. And my daughter and son-in-law stepped away, and my granddaughter stood there. I said, do you see that sign? It says, Indian land. This is my land. I was here when that happened. Why do I pay to come back here? Then they said, young lady, stay right there. We need to talk to you. So since they gave me all my money back and started giving me stuff from the gift shop, I think that's what they did for Manhattan. So ever since I've been coming back, they said, let us know when you're coming. We'll send you your tickets. So I've been back there many times, making a presentation to their staff to tell them what really happened. I did 2 orientations to their staff before. I did a presentation during one of the major conference on the island. See, you have to stand up for who you are. Don't just stay behind. You are a great nation. We're the first nation. We're the first people that were here. We need to let them know where we stand. My daughter gave me a poster last year for Christmas. Stand up for what's right, even if you're standing alone. And it's true. You may be one person in this world, but to one person, you are the world because you're the next generation. Later on, when we're talking about uranium and the resource, I'll be, on that panel if Eloise, does not come to, give information about that on the, I think it's tomorrow. So I just wanted to share this with you and let you know who I am. Again, I'm Jean Whitehorse, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. And we're going to be breaking soon enough for lunch, but I'd like to ask you to come back and stick around. We will have some food. And I want to see a show of hands. How many people are planning to go to Alcatraz on Thursday morning? All right. 4 o'clock in the morning, Pier 31. And for people that are listening to this program on the Earth Cycles Worldwide, want you to know that we pray for you on the island. We give a shout out to all the 4 directions, the 4 corners. And we have you in our hearts and our thoughts. During the time that we're here, these next 3-4 days through the week, we're going to be talking on some serious topics, subjects that some of you may not be familiar with, and some of us that are, and we want to show you to what extent we're moving on some of these issues. I'd like to invite Matsatsin to share with us a few minutes, and talk to us about the Mayan calendar that you saw out here in the front. So he'll say a few words about that.
Tlazocamati. Okay. Tlazocamati no chan placa no chan siwat. How are you doing, my homeboys and my homegirls? Pretty good? Okay, good. Good to be here today. And good to see all of you here today on a very important mission that's being accomplished here. A very important project, a very important work. I already got here a little late. I'm real sorry. I'm coming in from Martinez. I'm glad I got to hear those last final words, grandmothers, that you spoke. Very super important. And I think I heard the best words, right? You are somebody. One person makes a difference, and you're that person. Simple as that. What we have up here in front of this campus, we're very, very super proud about that project up there. I happened to be the advisor on this project to make sure that it got there the way that it is right there. We designed it. We wanted it exactly the way it is, made out of stone. At first, it was going to be made out of steel, and then fiberglass. We said, no, got to be stone, and it'll last forever. And there it is. Beautiful calendar. But it's a real calendar. And the reason you're here today is no coincidence on this day today. Today is the day of the condor, and it's a day number 8 condor on this calendar system. I really hope and I really want all of you and each and every one of you to, when you leave here after these couple of days, that you do know how to walk on that calendar system. Of all of the traditions and customs of our peoples throughout this continent, one thing has been left out of all our teachings, and it's been that calendar. It's been actually keeping track of time. We all have in our nations, in our peoples, we all have someone somewhere who's got connection to the way of keeping time in all the places. But we have not hooked it up. In the past maybe 10 years, I've had the great opportunity to be up and top in Onondaga, Canada, up there in Onondaga. You know, I got to dance up there with the Chief Arbor Looking Horse. I got to be in Ecuador. I got to be in Nicaragua. I got to be in different places. I got to be in Machu Picchu. In the summertime, we were in the Amazon. But you know what? Throughout this whole continent, I did not find one people, one group, one nation, one danza, one cultural group, whatever, that was truly keeping track of the count. It's not happening. Now, our grandfathers devoted thousands and thousands of years to develop the system that you see up there. What you see up here is the culmination of thousands of years by thousands of people across thousands of miles to develop a system where human beings could learn to be in harmony with everything and everybody that surrounded them. And that was the key. The second purpose, so we could teach our children to be permanently just and happy, meaning learning that justice comes when everybody has justice, and happiness when you make others happy. And that's the law of the land. We call it Quetzalcoatl, means you're my precious twin. Our grandfather Maya, they call it Inlakesh, means you're my other me. And I know up and down the continent, you have your own words for this. It just means peace. I believe the Ganohuita, when he planted the tree of peace, and said any man or any nation outside of this confederation who can follow the roots to the cause and learn to live by the law of peace, they're welcome to take shelter under the tree of peace. I think that's all the same thing. It means you are my other me, precious twin. So today's the day of the condor. What does it mean? The condor represents reflection. I said it was the day 8 condor. Means we have a number system here too. A number from 1 to 13. Each one of these numbers have characteristics and they represent certain qualities and potentials. None of this is superstition or phony baloney, none of this stuff like that. It's all real serious stuff, scientifically proven by observation after thousands of years. So the condor means reflection, when you look back and reflect. What a time to be here. Reflection, to find the teachings and remedy the faults. The number 8 of this condor that guides the condor, guess what? The number 8 is guided by a bird, and this bird is an eagle. So the eagle. So what do we have here today? The qualities and the potential of the eagle, which is the vision to look forward, put everything in order, and the condor to look back and reflect and find the teachings to remedy the faults. So in other words, we have everything it takes on this day to use these qualities and this potential to help us guide our day to day. And that's what it's about. It's not about good luck or bad luck or finding love in all the right places, you know. Good luck there, right? It's about learning to respect time and getting the most out of it. Now, we'll go one step further. When you find that time has this quality, this potential, well, guess what? you can correlate your own birthday, your own time, to this calendar. And you will find in what time and you were born according to this system. And what that will tell you is your potential. That's what it talks about. And it's all about potential. And when you look at people with potential, guess what? It's amazing. Every single person, every single one of us, we are amazing with all the potential that we have within us. But that's an identity. And if we don't have this identity, we're going to have a lot of trouble because we're never going to reach our potential or even know that we have these qualities. So that's what it's about. So for you to be here on this day and to begin this work and this cycle is very super special to us. When we put this calendar, worked on this, putting this calendar up here, we had no idea why we were chosen or got fortunate enough to be working on this project. But now we realize that since then, we've been to a whole lot of places bringing this message of using the calendar system. Right now, we have a lot of problems, terrible, terrible problems for indigenous people throughout the continent. Throughout the continent, right now you hear our drums, right now you hear our songs, right now you can smell our herbs, right now you can see our medicines. You know, I participate in a lot of ceremonies throughout the continent. We go every year to Mexico, and we go to the Pyramid of the Sun, when the sun is directly above the Pyramid of the Sun. And then we go the next day to Mexico City, and there's the sun right there. Next day, Malinalco, then Teposteco. And then on the day of the flower, Xochitl, on the calendar, we go to a place called Xochicalco, the house of the flower, and there's the sun. We call it the sun dance in Xochicalco, because the sun is definitely dancing on top of the Pyramid of the Flower on that day. So, but nonetheless, after we see all these movements, all these actions, all these beautiful, beautiful traditions coming back. So in 500 years, we have never been as close as we are today to our cultures and our tradition. In 500 years, we have been this close to hear them, and to smell them, to feel them, and to be part of them. That children are being born today, and mom and dad are naming them Xochitl or Ocelot, or names, original traditional names that really mean what they say. But yet also, my brothers and my sisters, in 500 years, we have never been in as much trouble and danger as we are today. And not only us, the original traditional peoples, the First Nations, not only us, but all of the world and all of the earth is in danger. So in 500 years, also, we have not been allowed, permitted, assisted, or at least get out of our way and let us take care of business in 500 years so we can take care of our Mother Earth. So here we are at this time now. At the end of the game, at the end of the run, we got a little bit of time, real small piece of time. Thank goodness the clock, the calendar is a clock as well, and it tells us what's happening. And it tells us that we have a little bit of space of time to walk into the space that was provided for us, a space that was recognized hundreds of years ago when they said, one day the sun will shine on us again. One day the Mother Earth will regain her strength and return it back to us so we can once again walk according to the sun and the rhythm of the cosmos. And guess what? And everybody fulfill their mission. So we have a mission, but it's going to take identity. It's going to take cosmic identity. When we realize that we are not the color of our skin or our eyes or our hair, that we're not our language, we're not our sex, we're not our religion, we're not our culture, that we are simply a little breath of life, a little breath of time, a little split second in time when I took that breath of life. That's who I am. That's my cosmic identity. And guess what? So did George Bush, and so did Osama bin Laden, and everybody else took the breath of life too. And they walked in the womb of their precious mother as well. And this system, this cycle, is what we have today to walk on again. We can do it. So hopefully, like I said, by the time these 3-4 days are over, you know, we'll be talking to you more individually, independently, as we hear all the discussions and the panels. And when you leave here, you walk out that door, the last day that you're in this system, in this conference, knowing what day it is, okay? The day of the condor today. Tomorrow, day of movement, Olin, speaking with your heart. The next day of the flint, to speak. But watch out for your eyes, because you got to see without the eyes. You'll be careful. And the following day of the rain. The rain is the teardrop sentiments. And then finally, the day of the flower. We're going to be to the day of the flower. That means completion, maturity. And everything is accomplished by love and beauty and positive endurance. So in other words, there's a lot for us in this next couple of days. So I thank you for the opportunity to say a couple of words to you. And I say, Mexica Tiawi, that means, oh yeah, Mexica Tiawi. The essence of being Mexica. Two things, that the sun shine on you, and you leave tracks on this earth. And that's it. Taso Kamati, Wemiak. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mazatzin. And we have some lunch here that we're going to be breaking, and around 1 o'clock we want you all to come back. And we have Professor Roxanne Ortiz, who's going to lead us through a discussion on treaties and agreements and other constructive arrangements, where treaties are here in this country right now, besides being violated continuously, and what it looks like at the international level, which I think a lot of you will find interesting how that's developing. As you saw in the packet that you have received after you sign in, and I hope you sign in so we can keep you informed, let you know what's going on. But in the packet there that you have is regarding Hawaii, for example, the Kingdom of Hawaii. And Hawaii had treaties with countries around the world. And then the United States invaded Hawaii around 1898, 1896, and has not loosened their grip on the islands. So it was stolen outright. And so that's among the many treaties that are controversial and have been violated, and we seek justice. The American Indian Movement based the Treaty of 1868, the Fort Laramie Treaty, for example, and to get justice for that treaty and all other treaties here in this country, we're calculating that we're going to have to take this to the International World Court and seek legal opinion, and in the process get countries involved to investigate and pursue these violations. So we'll be talking about that, and we have a film. We're going to set up a film, a short film on the American Indian Movement as well, a short documentary. So we'll have regional reports perhaps. I don't know if anyone wants to say anything right now from your region or from your area, or you want to wait till after. I don't know if James, you want to say anything, or Renee, or any other special guests that are here from out of town, out of the state. All right, so why don't we break? Go ahead.
We're going to move the food in there, so all of that, we're going to move it in there. So be orderly about it.
All right, so stick around and try and come back by 1 o'clock. Thank you.
And you're listening to
And you are listening to www.earthcycles.net.
All right, folks, and thanks, Tony. And right now they're going to bring in the PA system. We've got a bit of a crowd here, which is kind of neat.
So once we set up the plate, the food over here, let's allow a little time for the elders to get a plate, or let's try and get them a plate, and then everybody else.
All right, folks, and we're going to switch our little camera thing here to... I'm going to hit